Even though Anita Dunn said earlier today, quote, nobody wants to have a fight with Nancy Pelosi at this time, unquote, it does seem like there's some residual bad blood or resentment, and I'm wondering if you've spoken to him and what your response is to that.
Sometimes you just have to take a punch for the children.
And that's what you're doing right now? You're just going to take the punch for the children?
Nancy Pelosi remains unapologetic for pushing Biden to drop out of the general election and to essentially pave the way for a much more competitive general race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So far, according to polling, Harris is absolutely killing it and is increasing her lead in the general race, which means that Nancy Pelosi did the right thing. However, there remain some individuals, some Biden loyalists who are incredibly angry and salty over the fact that she succeeded in pushing Biden out. So in a new report in the Washington Post, a group of Democrats, including within Biden's orbit and the Democratic National Committee, remain bitterly upset with Pelosi over her public pressure campaign to push Biden out. Some have privately pledged to find ways to diminish Pelosi's influence in the party after the November election. So they want to retaliate against her.
They're going to punish her for winning.
She's been a very, very bad, Pelosi, and they're very upset that she did the right thing for the Democratic Party, and they want to punish her for it. So they may seek to target her daughter, Christine Pelosi, who is rumored to be considering a run for her mother's House seat whenever Pelosi decides to permanently step aside. And that's according to two people familiar with the very loose conversations who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution from the party. But look, it's easy to put out these reports that don't name any names. This report names some names,
right?
Namely, Anita Dunn. Apparently, Anita Dunn, former senior advisor to Biden, is one of the people who feels that Pelosi betrayed Biden. She said, quote, "One of my favorites is, revenge is a dish best served cold, okay? What I told the staff was, you don't need to go get revenge right away. You can pick your times and just wait for your moments." Jake Tapper asked Pelosi about that in a recent interview. Let's hear what Pelosi had to say.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president, it was about his campaign. As he has seen the exuberance, the excitement that has come forth in our country. I just did an event for one of our members in Illinois, Eric Sorensen, today. Immediately, he got 1,100 volunteers into his campaign as soon as that announcement was made.
Nobody is questioning the fact that the Democratic Party seems much better positioned right now than it did 4 weeks and 2 days ago. There's no question about that. Former Speaker Pelosi.
So why are we even talking about it?
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
No, I love that last part. So why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is crushing it. Why are we talking about this?
Yeah. So I'll just say real quick. Look, you have to be a special brand of mental to think that this was bad for the Democratic Party. But I know Anita Dunn a smidge. She's a perfectly smart person, and she knows it wasn't bad for the party. Everyone here knows it wasn't bad for the party. What she's saying is, and let's be frank about it, it was bad for my career and Joe Biden's career and our egos. And since our egos were, I would rather lose to Trump, she's saying, because they had about a 0% chance of winning, than have my ego bruised. And since Nancy Pelosi bruised my ego, I'm going to try to get revenge on her. But guys, she's not alone, right? So I've talked to a lot of people here, and tons of people say, hey, look, we like you guys, etc. There's the normal fans, I'm not talking about them. That of the people who have addressed the fact that we helped to try to push Biden out, there's a significant group of people who go, you know what, I thought you were crazy. Like literally, people say that all the time here to me, right? But you were right, and that's beautiful because they see, hey, we're in much better shape. This is beautiful. They're happy, but they thought we were nuts and heretics, etc. But then there's a second group of people that are in that Anita Dunn group that are still mad at us.
Right.
And that is insanity, total insanity. You know why, guys? Because the Democratic Party hates heretics. And if you don't listen to the top leader, They think it is the biggest crime. Losing to Trump is not the biggest crime. Losing the election, not the biggest crime. Losing democracy, not the biggest crime. But daring to disagree with a leader, even if you're 100% right, the biggest crime there is in the Democratic Party. That's why a significant portion of the party hasn't let it go, and it's amazing.
Well, I tried to stay agnostic on this during all these weeks. My listeners at SiriusXM were about 9-1 in favor of Joe Biden staying, which I get. And Cenk,
wow.
I do understand their grief. I understand their devotion. Nancy Pelosi is someone who I think needs to be praised ever since she brought incredible unity and messaging unity to the party in 2017 against the Trump tax cut. We were still reeling from the Bernie fan, Hillary fan, destructive civil war, and she managed to get everybody on the same page in 2017, and it stayed that way for Trump's term. So I'll always give her credit for that. What I say to folks who are grievous about Joe Biden being forced out, I think those are the folks calling Biden feeble. If you're saying there was a coup and Joe Biden had no agency in this, then you're the ones calling Joe Biden an old man who can't make his own decisions. Joe Biden deserves all the praise in the world. He got into this race to defeat Donald Trump. He got out of this race to defeat Donald Trump. It was the gutsiest, toughest thing I've ever seen a politician do. And most likely he will go down in the history books more for that than anything he could have achieved in a second term. And one more thing, Pelosi is not an anonymous source. She's been out there in the beginning, willing to suffer the slings and arrows of outraged Biden fans. And I appreciate that because we saw so many Democrats who didn't have the guts to put their face out there. What she and Schumer did, and Hakeem Jeffries to a lesser extent. I think Nancy still makes Hakeem wear a trainee badge, but what she and Schumer did was they made a calculated risk. We're willing to lose the White House if we could somehow keep the House and Senate. And that was what motivated them in telling Biden to leave, because the down ballot races were going to hurt a lot more than who got the Oval Office.
Yeah. I got to say something about, just piggyback off of something you just said. Look, I have a tremendous amount of respect for anyone who is willing to do the right thing, knowing that they are going to get a lot of hate and a lot of backlash for doing so. And we've been very critical of Nancy Pelosi for different reasons, the way that she pursued various policies.
Amen.
But lately, I don't know if it's because she's approaching retirement, but lately she's been doing things that are gutsy, including, trying to persuade Biden to drop out of the race. I'll give you another example. She refused to attend Benjamin Netanyahu's speech.
Amen.
And she was unapologetic about that. And I loved the way that she carried herself in defending herself over that decision. So kudos to her for how she's been, strategizing lately, how she's been acting lately. I really appreciate it.
And by the way, if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win, that's going to be interpreted as Joe Biden found a way to beat Donald Trump one more time. And again, he waited. People were calling me every night on SiriusXM, outraged that he might leave. And I said, he's not going to make any decision until after Donald Trump has locked in a running mate at the convention. So when you think about it, doughy, amoral eyeliner model J.D. Vance could be old Joe's last gift to us. And thank you, Biden. Biden's going to look great in history for doing something tougher than what LBJ did and tougher than what Washington did, because that old man really wants to beat Trump again. He did not want to get out of this race. I'll always believe there would have been a chance for him to beat him. I think at the end of the day, people might have gone for policy, but just look around this room and you'll see the impact. I have not felt a vibe like this since I was a kid working a marshal at the Nelson Mandela rally at Yankee Stadium. This kind of collective joy of so many diverse people leaning towards something more righteous than what we're used to.
Okay, so, all right, I'll say two.
Let me have it.
Two gracious things, and then I'll let everybody have it. Okay,
I'm not a Democrat. I don't mind.
No. So number one, I agree with, and you guys have heard me say many, many times, Joe Biden at the end made the right decision and deserves all the credit in the world for letting go of power when he didn't have to, and Trump never did. So what you do at the end matters most, okay? So history's gonna look very kindly on him doing this, especially if the Democrats win, then he's gonna be a total hero. So, and that's what I was saying from day one for a year. I was like, if you drop out, they build statues of you.
You were.
Right? So, secondly, I can't believe how much credit I'm giving to Nancy Pelosi. Look, but here's-
You incrementalist sellout, Cenk.
So guys, look, facts matter. Please stop being loyalists of people and politicians and cult of personalities. It's not only Trump. Democrats do cult of personality. So look at what we're doing. No one in media has criticized Nancy Pelosi more than I have, over and over again. So I don't want to go back to those old criticisms. But here, she was a hero and she was brilliant at it. And I'm going to give you one other thing that you don't know, okay? The reason she's going out publicly now and taking the bullets again a second time around is because she's partly protecting Hakeem Jeffries.
Yep.
And most importantly, Barack Obama. Barack Obama was a huge part of pushing Biden out. So look, the team that works with Destiny, who's another vlogger, etc., does a stream, caught up with me today, and I was kidding around, and I said, "You're welcome, Destiny," because he wanted Biden to stay in, and now he's happy that Biden, that Kamala Harris is doing well, etc. And he's like, and I was kidding. Oh, I deserve 99% of the credit. Of course, our role was minuscule. The two people that were the most important were Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama. Okay, and the fact that she's protecting the Obama brand right now and saying, yeah, it was me. It was me. She's not bragging about it. She's taking bullets for it, okay? And I respect her for that. And I respect how masterful she was. And I can't believe I'm saying that. But facts matter. She was masterful and she got the job done. So now I'm asking the people who are Biden loyalists, for God's sake, do facts matter? Do facts matter? I can't believe that anyone would still be angry. That's mental. If you're super happy that we might win now, the correct answer, put aside me. Like if you hate me and you hate progressives or whatever it is, no problem, no problem. I get it, that fight's apparently gonna last for the rest of my life, right? But can you say thank you to Nancy Pelosi for saving the election? Yeah. And to Barack Obama and to the people who are not out there, but who actually made a giant difference, Axelrod, Carville, all those guys, Ezra Klein, Nate Silver, they made a big difference.
Yeah. I'm still in pain about Godfather 3, so I understand people are hanging on to these things. But again, it's getting tinier every day, and you don't have to like how Joe Biden was persuaded out of the race to appreciate the greater good. And again, if you're saying it was a coup, you're denying that Joe Biden had the agency, you're denying it was his choice, you're the one calling him a feeble old man.
In fact, let me go to the last graphic here because he himself says this. He was asked, Nancy Pelosi did this, what's going on? He says, I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. Look, no one influenced my decision. He's saying I made the decision. And to your point, you made such a great point, John. The decision to announce that he's dropping out after the RNC was a very smart decision. He did not want to give the Republicans, he did not want to give Trump and Vance any ammo to attack Kamala.
That's correct. And now Donald Trump is stuck with eyeliner man-baby. And, Joe Biden's going to get credit for that. And Donald Trump now has taken sole custody of the ageism issue and all the hypocrisy that comes with it.
Yeah, and last thing on that is, not only did they pick J.D. Vance and double down because they thought they were going to win, but normally you get a post-convention bounce, and they stole the post-convention bounce and gave it to Kamala instead.
He didn't get a post-assassination attempt bounce.
That's right. And look, whether that was purposeful or not, I'm not entirely clear because Joe Biden is super stubborn, but he did the right thing. And whether it was intentional or not, it came at a perfect time. So it worked out really, really well. So one more time, thank you, Nancy Pelosi, but thank you to Joe Biden too for doing the right thing.
The one thing I will say is I was wrong about how well Kamala Harris would perform. I remember having an interview with Tim Ryan prior to all of this happening. Tim Ryan was pushing hard for Kamala Harris to be the presumptive Democratic nominee. I literally asked him, what are you smoking? Because I was concerned that, some of the elements of the Biden administration that made him unpopular would actually follow her to her campaign. But no, the excitement here is very much real. It is sincere. There's so many people here that you can't even walk to the bathroom. Okay, it's so crowded. And so I haven't felt this kind of excitement from Democratic voters in a really long time. And that goes to your point. I do think that this is good news for the general election for the Democrats. And it's certainly good news for down ballot races.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.